What's up, YouTube family? This is Rome, and I am here for the first time in 10 months. I know it's been a while, just been busy. I am now a lay pastor in my church. Work also has got me busy, so I've just been just doing all kinds of stuff. But today I just want to briefly tell you how we need to cut it. I'm here in my house, and I want to tell you a story about a tree that has given me hell for the last, almost 8.5 years that I'm living in this house. When I first bought this house, there was this big tree in my front yard, and I didn't really pay attention to it at first. It was just a tree. I didn't I bought my house in November of '08, and when I looked at the house, I said, okay, it's a nice house, and I saw there was some trees. I didn't really pay attention to them because it was like November and the trees had already let the leaves fall off of them, so I didn't really pay attention to how big the trees were. So, I was like, whatever. So, the following year was when I started noticing that the trees were a little, one of the trees was a little big, because when I saw the leaves that fell off of it, I was like, oh my God, man, this is a big, 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 big tree. So what wound up happening was, I had to rake all those leaves, and I was like, I can't rake all these leaves. I would just leave them there. And you know what happened year after year after year. And another thing that would happen, like in the summertime, or springtime, when a storm would hit and lightning would hit the tree, then a piece of the tree, a big piece of the tree, would just fall. Various places. One fell in my window. Fortunately, didn't do any damage to it. Quite a few times, it fell in the street. So and I would have to pay someone because it was such a big piece. I couldn't get it off myself, so I would have to pay someone to just remove that piece from my yard. So, um, and I was told by my neighbor, by my parents who hate trees, they told me to cut the tree. I was like, yeah, I want to, but it's gonna cost a lot of money, and then other people, one person who I told them that I wanted to cut the tree, they told me that, well, you may want to just trim it down because it can save on your electric bill, and you can just be safer because it will I guess cover you know people trying to look in your house or whatever. And I just procrastinated and didn't do anything about it. Well, yesterday I had another incident in which storms hit on Saturday, and on Saturday, one of my um, one the tree hit something else. Hit the yard again. It was a big piece, and I was like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired of spending all this money to get it, to get limbs replaced. It's time to cut it. So yesterday, I called one of my church members, and he cut. First he cut the little piece off. Now it's like, eventually I was like, you know what? Just cut the whole thing off. Let's cut it down. And I'm just gonna show you the tree. This is a piece of this is just the part that was messed up yesterday. As you can see, you know, that's just the piece that was messed up, and I had to put it over here. Now, what I'm going to show you now is the rest of the tree, and then also where I had to get it cut. So this is the tree itself, the rest of the tree, part of it at least. As you can see, is a lot of tree. This was a big, big tree, and it was a miracle that it didn't hit my um, house or anything. And right here, more of the tree, as well as where it was. So as you can see, that tree was big. All this was that one tree. All of this. plus what you saw earlier was that one tree. So why am I talking about a tree? Well, this big tree that you just saw, all these little pieces that you saw, it represents sin. It represents the sin of our lives. A lot of times, you know, we have this sin, it's not big deal to us. You know, it's okay, it pleases us, it gives us comfort, gives us peace, but in the long run it does damage. It does damage to our lives, I mean, if you look at the tree and all it did, you see all the pieces and things that I've noticed. Just look at this other tree. This is another one of my trees right here. You see what the tree does? You see how, there's green over here, but when you get over here, you see it's about a bunch of dirt or whatever. So there's nothing really growing there because it's being covered by darkness. So it's shading the light so it can't, grow grass or anything. So nothing can really, grow over there. So it's going to be muddy and stuff. So things, one of the things that sin does, it pretty much blocks out light. So, we're supposed to be light of the world. So if we're being blocked by sin, and allowing that sin to be in our lives, it just cuts us up and, blocks the light and it just messes everything up in us. And another thing that it does, you see all these pieces, you saw all the pieces that were there, right? It just becomes a big mess. It just puts a big mess of things in your life. And that's something, and it takes a lot. I'm not gonna tell you how much it's gonna cost me to get this fixed. When I say get this fixed, between getting the tree cut down and having all the pieces, transported, it's gonna be a pretty penny. So fortunately, thank God, I had money in savings to pay for it. But if I had just cut it down, what, 3 or 4 years ago when it really needed to be cut down, then I would have saved money from those 2 or 3 times that I had to get it cut down because, of whatever happened on a storm. If I just cut it down to begin with, then I would save all that money. And, they talk about how, it saves electricity. Well, I mean, I would still have to get it pruned if I was going to keep it because it was going to get out of control because I would never do anything to maintain it. So that money I'm spending to prune it would be pretty much as it probably would be for extra electric, my electric bill. So why even bother waiting for it? Why even bother dealing with that? Sin just has a way of messing things up. It gets big, it grows, and it becomes uncontrollable. And eventually you got to cut it because otherwise it's going to mess things up all around you. So it's going to do damage to your place, to those around you. Now imagine if, I had a neighbor and my tree fell in their yard, it would do damage to their yard and my yard. So sin has a way of just messing things up for everybody. So, the best thing to do is not to just, prune it or act like it's not there. Cut it. Cut the sin out of your life. Cut the porn out of your life. Cut the lying. Cut the gossip. Cut everything that's not of God out of your life. In Matthew chapter 7, Jesus mentions on the Sermon on the Mount, he talks about how, I guess, sometimes you have someone who poses as a prophet, but is actually a wolf in sheep's clothing. And the sheep by the fruit that it bears, just like a tree. So, I have other trees in my area, in my yard, and I have no issues with them. Like this tree right here. Of course, this tree stays all year long, but it doesn't do anything. It's a big old tree. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't give me any issues. And if I just really wanted to do something, I could just decorate for Christmas. So I mean, it's a cool tree. And I have another tree that often, during the summertime, it'll start blooming. Purple. I mean, not purple. Pink petals or whatever. So it's a nice tree. It still needs to be pruned, but still, it's a nice tree. But it produces something positive. It produces something positive. That other tree that just got cut down, it didn't grow anything but on my nerves. So that's why it need to be cut. So every tree isn't bad, but there are certain trees that need to be cut. So what Jesus said was that, a tree that doesn't bear any fruit needs to be cut. So just like, we need to cut down trees that, aren't doing us any good. We need to cut those things that are not doing good in our lives, and that's sin. That bad tree represents the sin in your life. So, you know, before that tree, does more damage to you, that tree of sin, you need to cut it. Whatever that sin is, like I said, it could be porn, it could be sex, it could be lying, it could be cheating, it could be covetousness, jealousy. Whatever it is, you need to cut it. You need to get it out of your life, because otherwise it's going to do more damage, and you're going to wind up being like me and have to pay for that, and also paying for this. So if you don't want to be like me and have to pay in the long run, I suggest you cut your sin now. Cut it off. Well, that's all I got for you guys. So I had wrote a note about this yesterday. I felt that it would also be cool to do a visual of it and just let you know that, you need to cut that sin out of your life and don't let it fester in you. That's all I got, guys. Until next time, hopefully it won't be 10 months. Peace.